I guess there's something I could talk about, although I have talked about it before. I've talked about it a number of times actually. The conglomerate likes to ignore all that stuff. It likes to ignore all the things that would um, contribute to a perception of me that is not the perception that it wants to have of me, and not the perception that it wants the rest of the world to have of me. Which is that Vermont is really, not a big state and does not have a lot of people, and it also where I was, Burlington, which is really pretty much the most urban place, and is not. It really is a small town. You can walk through downtown in about 10 minutes. the entire downtown, really pretty much 10-15 minutes, something like that. Um, yeah, so it was, and it's very much a college town. So you have, there. I mean, it's all right, for doing things like getting married and raising kids, as long as you're not, as long as you don't need to have lots and lots and lots of activities, you know. And if you love the outdoors, it's a great place. Also, there's all sorts of, for people who like to do sports outside, especially like winter sports. It really it really is kind of a good place for them. But really, I mean, by the time you're 25, you're single, you're kind of getting old, you know. And there really isn't so much the kind of thing that you will get, in most other, most actual large cities, which is a kind of a people who are not necessarily settled between 25 and 35, 25 and 40, but are still, doing all sorts of other things. Um, it's pretty rigid in terms of like social roles, and there's not a lot of work opportunity. um, and people, certainly if you're single by the time that you're 30, um, it can get really pretty lonely. So it was not my preference to be dating people who were several years younger than I was, but that's those are the people who were around. And I have certainly have talked about this several times before. I have talked about this. I've been talking about this. I've talked about it, a few times a year, every year since at least 2010. But the conglomerate just ignores all of that. It like fixates on these things that are so totally trivial that it decides to interpret according to how it wants to interpret them. And then the things that I actually say, um, that that contribute to a true perception of me, the conglomerate just ignores all of it or forgets about it, within a day or two.